Welcome in for another edition of TPI Talk. My name is Scott Hardy, and today we have the privilege of talking to Jacob Meacham, a representative of the Alexander City Chamber of Commerce, here today to speak a little bit about the third annual Lake Martin Young Professionals Polar Plunge that will be hosted at Kalijah Restaurant here on Lake Martin. So Jacob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so for people who may not be that familiar with the organization or just moving to town and want to get involved, could you talk a little bit about the organization itself and how the group was created?
Sure. Well, the Lake Martin Young Professionals Group is an official program of the Alexander City Chamber of Commerce where I work. So I'm really involved with YP on a day-to-day basis. But it's designed with the idea in mind, just like a lot of other young professionals groups are throughout the state, to connect young people and to give them an outlet for involvement, whether it's social, informational, educational events, trying to build leadership experiences for young people and just connect them with things that are going on in the community.
Okay, I got you. So again, as we said, this particular video is really going to focus on the event that will be hosted this Saturday here, as we are right here at Kalijah Restaurant. And if the weather's any indication that we have now for Saturday, it's going to be a brisk Saturday morning or afternoon rather. But again, this is the third annual Polar Plunge. Could you just talk a little bit about the event and then also the inception of it? How did it actually get created?
Yeah, you're spot on with the conditions right now. If y'all can't tell, we're a little chilly out here, and it's polar conditions. It got started with just us brainstorming in a YP meeting about some events to do that might be fun and things that could also support a good cause. So that's kind of how it was born. We partnered with the Lake Martin Resource Association, LMRA, who does tremendous work for Lake Martin in keeping it clean through trash cleanups, buoy maintenance and installation, so keeping it safe, and also a lot of advocacy for extension of the pool levels. So just a phenomenal organization that does work for Lake Martin that's very impactful. So the event essentially is a fundraiser for LMRA. In the past 2 years, we've raised over $8,000 for LMRA, which they've used to purchase and install lighted buoys to make it a little safer to navigate the lake at night. Aside from that, it's just a fun thing. Yeah. It's kind of unique with people getting out in the lake in January, running out into the water. And it's a phenomenal setting here at Kalijah Restaurant to have an event like that. The best lakeside dining on Lake Martin here at Kalijah Restaurant, and couldn't be a better atmosphere for it. So a great day for business for them, a great fundraiser for LMRA, and a really fun time for the people that come. It's three things that make up for a really good event.
Yeah, it seems like a win-win for everyone involved, and the perfect counterpart to have as a benefactor for this event. It just seems like the two would mesh really well there, and they have done a great job. John Thompson and the rest of the board have done a tremendous job in ensuring that the funds that are being raised for this event are properly used and put to good work. But in terms of the event itself on Saturday, what are some of the activities involved, entertainment-wise, prices, and some information on the event itself?
Yeah, so doors open here at Kalijah at 10 o'clock. Nothing really gets going until later in the day. The plunge takes place at noon. That's $20 to come. That includes 4 food tickets that you'll be able to use at the special food stations that Kalijah prepares for the Polar Plunge that day. So it includes food, live music, a lot of fun, and supporting the Lake Martin Resource Association. As I mentioned, it's a fundraiser, so that $20 goes to an excellent cause. The food's always outstanding. If you've been to Kalijah to eat, you know that, and they do a really great job making sure that what's here that day is outstanding. This year we have a couple of new things at the event. The Dash for the Cash, which is something that we kind of thought would be fun to do. Right after the Polar Plunge, for willing participants, we're going to have a little flag floating out in the water. Swim out to that flag and back to the shoreline. Whoever gets to the point on the shoreline first wins $100 cash prize. Also a costume contest. Some of the other polar plunges that we've looked at and kind of researched, they do costume contests, so we thought that'd be something fun to add to it as well. So for the best polar plunge costume, $100 cash prize for that as well. So those are a couple of things that are new. There's also a photo booth that's going to be here on the event grounds where you can come, and there'll be a nice polar experience backdrop where you can take pictures and share it on social media. And we always do a Snapchat filter to kind of make it fun for that as well. It's just fun to be in a great restaurant, live music by Dallas Dorsey and the Rails, a cool band from Opelika. Dallas has played a couple of times at Strand Sessions. So good food, live music, friends, having fun. I think those are the ingredients for a really fun event.
And again, we're here with Jacob Meacham of the Alexander City Chamber of Commerce, speaking about this Saturday's Lake Martin Young Professionals Polar Plunge. And speaking on the Young Professionals group, as a member of the organization, I can definitely say that this has really been a starting to become a staple event for the YPs. But how would you say this has impacted the trajectory of the organization itself?
Yeah, I think doing events like this that get a lot of traction with the community certainly elevates maybe your perception and how that you do things. And anytime that something is a success, we're really proud of it. So thankfully, the last 2 years have been successful events in raising money for LMRA and also being something fun. So I think it probably has increased the awareness a little bit for what the group's trying to do and what we're capable and our leadership is of doing. So it certainly helps when events are successful. Maybe encourages people to get involved and become part of the group, or we rely on a lot of support from the business community and other people who help fund events like this. So us being able to show that we can execute something at a high level, I think definitely helps with trying to plan things in the future.
Gotcha. So obviously anyone who's involved in event planning knows that you do have to have some type of sponsorship usually for this caliber of event. And I know there were a lot of people who got involved. There are certain people who, from a business perspective, saw this as an opportunity to try to encourage some more business for them. Could you highlight some of the sponsors?
Sure, yeah. I'm going to read down my list here because I don't want to miss anyone. But the event is presented by U.S. AmeriBank, so they are the presenting sponsor. And U.S. AmeriBank is a phenomenal partner of YPs throughout the year and a lot of things that we do. Our gold sponsors for the event are, Dr. Brian Dix, Dart Insurance Agency, and Lake Martin Dock Company. Our silver sponsors are Central Alabama Community College, GCI Design, that's Georgia Carlee and David Carlee. They do phenomenal work. Russell Medical, Southern Design and Materials, and Tallapoosa County Commissioner Steve Robinson. We also have some supporting sponsors. As I mentioned, the Dash for the Cash, that's sponsored by our friends at Ballard Construction. Lake Martin Realty is the registration sponsor. David Willis with Raymond James Financial Service is sponsoring the costume contest. Russell Marine serves as the photo booth sponsor. TPI, the great organization that you work for, Scott, is the entertainment sponsor. And Zajax Auto Collision is the dressing room sponsor. And of course, Kalijah Restaurant and Russell Lands on Lake Martin is responsible for this unbelievable setting that we have here at Kalijah Restaurant to have the event, and they are the venue sponsor.
Yeah, and so we definitely appreciate all of those that have wanted to take an interest in this great event. And so before we wrap things up, Jacob, if there's anybody out there who may be on the edge of wanting to attend or maybe taking the plunge, what's something of an encouragement or a type of a push, I guess, to make sure that you maybe don't have to take the plunge, but at least attend the event?
Yeah, whether or not you want to come and jump in the cold water, I can certainly understand why somebody wouldn't want to do that. I will say that it's not as bad as you think it is. The first year it was 35 degrees outside and the wind was blowing about 20 miles an hour, so I think the wind chill was probably somewhere in the 20s. And the water was cold, but once you get out and dry off and warm back up, we have dressing rooms right off of the shoreline where people can warm up and get dry, so it's not as bad as you think. Even if you don't want to take the plunge, like you said, it's a great opportunity to come out, support a great cause, have some delicious food, listen to some really good music, and just have a good time.
Absolutely. Well, Jacob, we appreciate you joining us today, and we encourage everyone to come on and support the Lake Martin Young Professionals as well as the Lake Martin Resource Association for the great causes that they make sure that they're involved in as well throughout the year. Again, my name is Scott Hardy. This has been another edition of TPI Talk. See you next time.